Hello, Ragu. I've got 1 Corinthians 13 here. And first, just the overall, Paul, who is the author of Corinthians, is showing how critical love is for Christians to have in everything that they do. And then he goes and he defines love. And so we're going to go and take a look at what Christian love looks like. Right away, we see a principle to follow here, and that is you can do great things for Christ, but if you don't have love, it's worthless. And you see that in verse 1 to 3. And out of this, you get it's not just what you do that matters, but it's the reasons why you do them, right? What motivates you, right? We see in verse 3 that like sacrifices that you make for others, giving away what you have. That's a great thing to do, but if you're not doing it because of love, then it's not good, right? It's not just what you do, but why you do it. And so that's the principle that I got out of the first part of the chapter. In that middle section, verses 4 to 7, we see what love is, right? And as Christians, we are supposed to love others, love God, and everything that's not love, we're supposed to take out of our lives. And so what I did is I went and I flipped this list around to try to look at my own life and see what I'm doing, right? So I went and I asked myself, am I impatient or unkind to others? Do I envy what other people have, or do I boast about myself? Do I insist on my own way, like in an argument? Am I ever irritable or resentful? And do I endure with people when things get tough? And I know I'm still working through this, and I know you're still working through this, because every Christian is always working to be more loving, right? To show God's love to everybody else, right? And that's really our motivation for loving, right? We see in 1 John 4, verses 19 through 21, right? And in those verses, it's saying that our motivation for loving others is that God loved us while we still hated him. And so we are to show that same love that he first showed us, right? And that just boils down to we love because he first loved us. And then at the end of this chapter, in verse 12, that's talking about how we only, partially understand the mysteries of God. But once we get to heaven, we'll better understand God and know him more fully. Not that we can ever completely understand God, because remember, his ways are higher than our ways and his thoughts are not our thoughts. But we'll get to see him face to face, and that will be a great, great day. And then the very, very last verse in the chapter, verse 13, showing that love is the most important attribute for a Christian to have. Not that any of them are unimportant, right? You've got faith, hope, and love, right? This is a commandment. We are to abide in faith, abide in hope, and abide in love. But the greatest one of those, right, the most important for us to have is to have love, right? This is a great commandment for us to have. And so this is a very important one. I sincerely hope that you go and you take the time and you read through this and you think about this and reflect, as I have done and I will, to just better understand this and apply this to our lives, right? Because we don't just want information here, right? We want to know it, and then we want to do it, right? And so I'm interested to see what you take out of this. And this is just such a great passage.